Hello friends, welcome back to additional English class of third semester. We are in the 14th session today. So in this session, let's continue reading A Sunny Morning, an one-act play as a comedy. So in the previous class we read it as a comedy. Now we shall continue reading the play and find out what more is depicted in this play. Yes, Lara and Gonzalo enter the park. They argue over the benches, and later on they are reconciled on a pinch of snuff. Okay. So as you know, this is a play in which a pair of lovers were separated in their youth by some circumstances. They meet in their old age, around 70, when they are around 70, in a public park, accidentally, and do not recognize each other. Till the half of this play, one act play, they do not recognize each other by their looks. Only when they start revealing their past incidents related to their youth, then they start recognizing each other. So this play is all about what happens when they meet, when a pair of lovers meet after they were separated in their youth, that is after 50 years approximately. Whether they recognize or not, even if they recognize, what do they do, how do they respond, and how does the play end. So this is what the play is all about. As we know, Lara and Gonzalo enter the park. Lara gets a bench to sit, but Gonzalo does not get a bench to sit. He searches for a bench, but finally comes and sits with Lara. In the sense, he shares the bench with her. On one end she sits, on the other end Gonzalo sits. After they sit, Lara starts commenting on his actions, that he is an ill-natured man, and she also comments, "Why you here again?" She also compares him to a carriage, a vehicle that raises dust. So, before Gonzalo comes and shares the bench with Lara, he is walking towards the direction where Lara is feeding the pigeons. So, unknowingly, Gonzalo moves towards that side, and by that the pigeons are scared away. They fly away. Lara is angry at this. She says, "Look out, what you are doing." But Gonzalo says, "I don't care, the birds. This is a public park." So when he says it is a public park, Lara comments on it, saying that if it is a public park, then why did you complain that your bench has been occupied by 3 priests? If it is a public park, the benches belong to nobody. They belong to the public, not 1 or 2 persons. Gonzalo is irritated by her comments and says, "You don't have the right to address me personally." So inevitably he comes back to share the bench with Lara, and as he sits with her, he wishes her good morning, but "Why you here again?" Gonzalo is irritated and says, "Good morning should be answered by good morning." That's how there is argument between these two major characters, and then Gonzalo tries to wipe off the dust which has settled on his shoes with his handkerchief. Observing that, Lara asks him whether he uses handkerchief as a shoe brush. He says yes, why not? And she reverses that order and asks, do you use shoe brush as a handkerchief? Gonzalo is irritated. Don't criticize my actions. You are not related to me. So he sits and takes a book and starts reading. But Lara troubles him with her questions and makes fun of him. When he takes out a telescope from his pocket, she says, when he takes out a reading glass from his pocket, she compares that to a telescope and says, I thought you were taking out a telescope. Slowly, he also tells her that he is good at hunting. But Lara makes fun of that again and says, yes, you are good at killing, not animals, but time. So finally he wants to read and says, I want to read, leave me alone. First I will take a pinch of snuff, ನಶೆ ಪುಡಿ, ಅದನ್ನು ತಗೊಂಡು ರಿಲ್ಯಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆಗಿ ಓದಬೇಕು ಅಂತೇಳಿ ಡಿಸೈಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾನೆ. ಸೊ he takes a pinch of snuff and offers also the same to Lara. She takes it. They sneeze continuously, 3 each, and now they have become friends with a pinch of snuff. Previously they argued and they fought over different topics. Now they have become friends. So Lara says, the snuff has made peace between us. So this is how we have seen how Lara and Gonzalo start arguing initially, but later they have become friends on taking snuff. With this, check your understanding by going through the MCQs. Let us also take up session number 15 in this session. So in 15, we continue reading the play in which Gonzalo and Lara enjoy some lines from the book. They enjoy poetry. So while they read, they also reveal their childhood and youth. Gonzalo reads some lines from the book which have relation to or background to Gonzalo and Lara's love. So till now we don't know that they are lovers. They are just strangers, old people who have met in the public park and argue over benches and pigeons, but they have become friends now by taking snuff. Now Gonzalo reads some lines. All love is sad, but sad as it is the best thing that we know. He quotes the poet of those lines and he continues reading. 20 years pass, he returns. 20 years pass, he returns, and each beholding the other exclaims, can it be that this is he? Heavens, is it she? These lines mention two lovers meet after a long time, 20 years, okay, and each see each of them and wonder, is it he? Is it she? So these lines have a direct reference to the story of Lara and Gonzalo. Now, as readers, we know that they are lovers who were separated in their young age. Now they are meeting in their old age, but they do not recognize till some time later. Lara is also able to read these lines. She takes the book from, she cannot see Gonzalo facing trouble reading those lines from the book. He adjusts his glasses and reads, but Lara doesn't have reading glasses. She takes the book and says, "Give me, I will read it better." But we as readers know the truth that Lara doesn't have a good eyesight, but rather she knows every word of this piece of poetry by heart. So she reads easily, she converses easily, she recites those lines very easily. So these lines, 20 years pass, provide a chance for Lara and Gonzalo to be reminded of their own love story. Yes, as readers we know what is happening between them, but for Lara and Gonzalo, these lines provide a chance to be reminded of their young age and their love. So in their conversation, they start talking about their past. Lara says, "Have you been to America?" Gonzalo says, "Yes, I am brought up in the area called Valencia." So when he says Valencia, Lara becomes alert because she was also there in her youth, where she spent some time. Gonzalo says, "Yes, I was brought up and spent my early days there." "Have you visited that city?" he asks her further. So Lara creates fun of Gonzalo's reading and his age. Gonzalo reveals his past. That is the summary of this session. Therefore, we have seen how Lara and Gonzalo are made friends, how they enjoy poetry, which has a direct reference to their story, their past. Gonzalo also reveals his past in the sense he says, "I was born and brought up in America in a place called Valencia, where I spent some of my childhood and youth." And these lines, 20 years pass, are very interesting and have a direct reference background to Lara and Gonzalo's love story. So with this, check your understanding by going through these multiple choice questions. With this, let us conclude this session and see you in next session. Thank you.